Hi, I'm Megan Johnson, and this is Profit versus Pitfalls, Young Entrepreneurs. I am so excited. This is a first. We have the first time we are interviewing somebody that is super young, 17, Abigail, 17? She's
Correct.
17 years old, and she's still in high school. So this is a couple first. You are the youngest, and you're still in high school. And her incredible business is called Charcuterie Collective. Abigail, hello. It's so exciting to meet you. Tell us a little bit about Charcuterie Collective.
So we started in November of 2020. I started it with one of my good friends, Sophie Evans. She was a year older than me. I was a junior in high school at the time. And charcuterie has always kind of just been a fun family tradition of mine. And my aunt taught me how to make these boards. A couple summers ago, we go to Newport Beach every summer as a family, and she built this beautiful table for dinner, and I was just amazed at all the different creations and things she made to make this work of art. And so over the next few years and months, I kind of tried it out on my own and tried to see what I could do to make something similar. And so I started to learn, and my mom and I had a lot of fun trying out different cheeses and designs and stuff to display these in different ways. And so we would have them at family dinners and different events and that kind of stuff. And I would always post them on my Instagram, my personal Instagram, and people would always be responding, "Oh, you have to make it into a business." But I was like, I already owned a different business at the time. I did online resale clothing. And so I thought, oh, I'm too busy. I can't. And then one night in the fall, me and my friend Sophie were sitting on the couch and we were like, you know what, this would be kind of fun. And so we figured we'll put it into a little business and see if it would have any success. We honestly didn't know if it would. And so we decided, we'll make an Instagram and we'll see how it goes.
And so you made the Instagram and different than your personal Instagram. So you have your personal Instagram, and then you started the Charcuterie Collective Instagram page?
Yes.
Okay. And, let's take a step back. I think sometimes some people don't know exactly what charcuterie is. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about what exactly is it?
Yeah, definitely. So in essence, charcuterie is a French term used to referred to cured meats. And so now in American culture, charcuterie boards are referred to the assortment of different meats, cheeses, crackers, fresh fruits, vegetables, and then a variety of garnishes that are used on these boards. So charcuterie is the term for meat, but now in what we refer it to as, it's referred to as all the things that are included on the board. So we use a variety of imported and domestic cheeses, different varieties of meats, and then we find lots of fun, different things to add that really bring pops of color and texture into our boards.
So you didn't have any traditional culinary training before you started this business, did you?
No. Except for making mac and cheese, there wasn't a whole lot I could make. And so it's kind of funny. I never thought I would end up in the food service business. But I love just seeing all the different ways and things that you can create from these boards. There's just so much opportunity to create different things. And it's really cool because you can cut something a different way and make a super cool design. And we found a lot of cool ways to make these boards special and unique for every different client's event and stuff. And so we'll do weddings and baby showers or birthday parties. We have so many different events that we do. And so we found different ways to make these boards unique for every event so that each board stands out and is different from the last.
Well, I've seen the pictures of the boards on your Instagram page, and really they are amazing. And some of them look like they're huge, like they take over the whole table. Is that just an illusion of the picture, or are they really that big?
No, they're really that big. We have a variety of sizes that we do. And so we'll have ones that are small enough to feed 2 people. And we'll also build ones that are 18 feet long and are enough to feed 300 people. So, and there's every size in between. And so we base everything off of the number of people that it needs to feed. And so we'll have some very large tables that will be produced if we have some bigger numbers.
So, and I want to, when you make a board that's, you're saying 18 feet, is the actual board it's on 18 feet, or do you have several smaller boards you're putting together?
So for these boards that you're referring to, we call them our grazing tables. And so for these ones, we build it all on butcher paper.
Okay.
And so it can just be purchased from a local craft store, but it's really convenient because it's disposable. So at the end of the night, the client can just roll it up and throw it away. And then there's really not a whole lot of cleaning or dishes. But we definitely love the look of the traditional charcuterie wood boards. Mm-hmm. And so we can, if clients prefer those, we provide a service that they can rent some of our personal boards. And so we'll put everything down on the butcher paper and then put 6 or 7, well, depending on the size of the table, 6 or 7 charcuterie wood boards down. And then we'll build the food on top of those. And then the food kind of pours over onto the table to fill the whole table to ensure that there's enough for all the guests. But a lot of our boards we just do on the plain butcher paper, and it looks really nice. But a lot of times people will want that depth and the different heights and things that can be incorporated by using traditional wood boards. So we'll use those as well too.
Again, the pictures of it, it looks amazing. And I love charcuterie, and the pictures of your charcuterie are just incredible.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I do want to jump back a little bit. You already had another business. You said you had a resale clothing online business. What did you do with that business when you started the charcuterie business?
So I started that business about 2 years ago, and it was going really well. And it was really helpful for me because I learned a lot of critical business and entrepreneurial skills that really helped carry out this business. And I think it's part of the reason that it has been as successful that it is. And so I'm super thankful to have had that experience. But once I did start the Charcuterie Collective, I definitely slowed down just in my ability to be posting regularly and keeping up with that. And so every once in a while I would kind of keep up with it, but definitely in the last few months, the charcuterie business has just been very, very successful, and I'm so thankful for that. But unfortunately, that has meant that I've had to slow down on my clothing business, and we're actually not posting anything currently. We're not taking any clothes for resale. And so if stuff sells, we've had some stuff sell throughout the last few months. So we have been shipping them out still and keeping up with any client requests, but we're not actively posting anything. So I technically still own it, but I'm not very active.
And what's interesting is that you sound like you're entrepreneurial from the get-go, but your parents were in education. Your parents weren't entrepreneurs. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
So how did you get this entrepreneurial bug?
Honestly, my parents are just shocked by it. They don't really know exactly. My grandpa started his own business in construction, and so he has definitely been one of the big entrepreneurial mentors in my life. He just has a lot of guidance and advice that's definitely helped me. And so I'm very thankful for all of his words of wisdom that he's poured into me. And so I definitely get a lot of that from him. And my parents were both in education. My dad actually changed careers about a year ago to be an insurance agent.
Good for your dad. That's awesome.
He is getting a little bit more of the business atmosphere, I guess. He was a principal, so I think he got a lot of the good communication skills and all that. So it's definitely been a lot of traits that have been instilled in me by my parents and my grandparents and a lot of other adult mentors in my life.
So would you say that your grandfather, who is an entrepreneur, really gave you some good business skills? Can you think of one that stands out in your mind?
I think the one thing that my grandpa told me, I think it was when I still was active on my clothing business. Some advice that he gave me was that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Uh-huh.
And I think that that's something that it's not as much like a trait, but I think it's just kind of a mindset that he really made me think about. And it's something that I've seen to be so evident in his life because he's tried to retire before, but he just loved what he did so much. And he loved pouring into other people that he wanted to keep going back and working and finding new projects and stuff to do. And so I think that the value of hard work and doing what you love and doing things with passion and drive has really been something that has really stood out to me and shown me the value of finding something that you do love and doing something that you're passionate, because when you have something that you're so passionate about, you will literally work for as long as possible until you achieve like that passion and that goal that you have set for yourself. And so I think that's definitely something that in my life I've seen to be something so valuable that I'm so thankful that he taught me, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great advice. I do wonder, because being an entrepreneur, it is exciting, but also there can be days that are less exciting than others. What do you do to get through those times when maybe things go wrong or maybe you're not as in love with what you're doing? What do you do to get through those sort of those challenging moments?
I think some things that have really helped me in the days that are hard or the days that you just feel down are just talking to other people. I have a lot of really great people in my life that I can go to. And so I can often just sit and talk to people and reflect and just kind of take a moment to breathe and think about it. I also have found that just little acts of like self-care and taking time for myself, because if I could work 24/7, I totally would. I would never stop. But I've really found the value of taking time to just relax. Like even watching a movie, I just don't usually watch a lot of TV and that kind of stuff. But sometimes I have to, just because I have to have a way to reset and take some time to just not have to think about anything. And so I've definitely found that valuing and making it a priority to have that self-care and time to myself has been very beneficial. And just having people in your life that you can go to has been so nice, because a lot of times especially if it's, oh, something went wrong with the client today, or I'm just feeling frustrated or down about this, there's a lot of people that are mentors of mine that have gone through similar stuff. And so they can often offer me advice, or they can just kind of talk me through, and it often helps.
Have you ever had one of your mentors give you some advice and you thought, yeah, I'm not keen on that advice. I'm not taking it.
Honestly, I don't think so.
Oh, good.
I'm trying to think. I have a few people that have really just poured into both of my businesses. And I'm so grateful, because I can tell you right now that they would not be where they are without these people. And they were people that I could just like send something at 11 o'clock at night, and they would be up and looking at it and designing logos and figuring out branding or looking over my course and all this stuff. And so I'm so thankful that I have these people. And I don't think I can say that they've ever given me bad advice. I think they have a lot of experience, which is what I'm glad.
That's excellent. Now, you mentioned your course, and you and I were talking about this before we started recording our conversation. Tell us a little bit about this course. I think this is fascinating.
So in May of 2020, one of my business mentors approached me and had this idea, because she runs a baby sleep care business. And she was telling me, like, our businesses are super similar. Like, I really think that we could find a way to make your services available to people nationwide, worldwide. Because right now I am limited to local people by doing the in-home setups and that kind of stuff. And so she produced her own online sleep care course, essentially to teach people how to get their babies to sleep. And so she's like, I think that we could make how to make a charcuterie board course. And so she started brainstorming all these ideas, and I'm sitting in church and she's texting me all these ideas, and my mind is just racing. I'm like, oh, this could be so cool. And so we got kind of all the details, and she connected me with some of her marketing people and different people that could help actually make this course happen. And so over the summer, I wrote a course script, had lots of meetings and Zoom calls to get all these details in place. And then in July, I filmed my online course. And so I filmed 5 modules that will teach people how to make charcuterie boards. And then I provide a shopping list and a lot of different little resources and things that I'm hoping that will help make the process of charcuterie boards easier and maybe a little bit less staring, because I know it can be intimidating to think, how can I make some very large spread? Because some people are like, oh, I can try the small ones, but these 6-foot tables just seem like too much. So I tried to be able to create a course in a way that would make it easy for people to be able to make their own. And so we produced that, and it's coming out in the next few months.
Well, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, where will people be able to see it? Or do they pay to see it, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it'll be a course that you can purchase, and it will be available on my website, and then it will take you to the link that has all of the courses as well as all the additional resources and guides that we provide for you. And so all of that will be available on my website. In the next few months, the website is currently being finished, which I'm so excited to see it.
Very excited.
And so it'll be available on there, and then people can purchase it and watch it online, and then they can create their boards while the course is going. They can see the shopping list and all that, and then you go back and reference it, because there's a couple different kinds of boards. We teach you how to make a brunch board, traditional charcuterie boards, and then we teach you how to make the big charcuterie boards we have, like the 6-foot one is on there.
The monster board.
Oh, yeah.
Now, your partner that you started out with, your friend, you guys are no longer partners, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we parted ways in about February. It was her senior year, and so she actually decided to go to college out of state. So she's currently in Indiana, which is so cool to see her continue her academic career. But we figured, just because I would still be in the state, that it would be the best to part ways at that time. But her and I are still super good friends, and so it's cool to see her continue her academics and all that stuff in Indiana.
So what was that like when she went on to college, and now you were on your own? What was that like, the first event where she wasn't with you? What was that event like?
It was definitely weird. It was just that those months that we worked together were so fun. It was fun because we travel a lot across the valley, and so it was fun to have all those car rides and make all those memories, just getting to work together. And so it's definitely sad not getting to work with her, because we did have so much fun together. But it was definitely eye-opening for me. I was like, I need people that can help me. And so that's when my mom, who also has a passion for what I do, really stepped in and helped me with getting some of the research done. So she is the backbone of a lot of what happens in this business. She's 100% just a part of the core of this business. And she just is so good at doing a lot of the research, and she just is amazing at spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. So she helps keep me organized in a lot of those ways. So between her and my dad, they really help me get a lot of the paperwork and that kind of stuff done, because a lot of it is me learning how to do it. I did not know how to get insurance and licensing and all that kind of stuff. So they've definitely really stepped in and helped me, and I'm so appreciative of it.
Well, now, did they know how to do it, or was it like a learning experience for the entire family?
Did they know how to make the charcuterie boards,
Oh
or
no, I'm
like the
sorry. The
business?
kind of the legal stuff, like the licensing or the insurancing. I mean, I wouldn't have known to do that if I were in your shoes. But your
Yeah.
parents did, or did they have to? Did they sort of figure it out too?
It was definitely kind of a figure it out thing as you go. Because of my dad's new job, he has a lot of people in his office that have similar things. They've maybe owned businesses. And so they've been able to help me with different licensings and all that kind of stuff that we've never gone through before. And so it is nice because that we were able to get that pretty smoothly. And then a lot of those business mentors that I mentioned before have owned different businesses. And so they also have that experience of getting licensing and all that. It's a lot of like the food handlers and all that kind of stuff. So some of that we were able to figure out on our own, but some of it we definitely had to ask for help.
Was there a license you had to acquire that was really kind of, you're like, that was sort of weird. I didn't think I'd have to have that.
I knew I would have to have the food handlers. I wasn't expecting needing to get like I don't know. I probably didn't think all of it through because in my last business I didn't have to get
Mhm.
as many licensing,
Mhm.
as much licensing. And so I got my LLC and all that, and then that I have to get like the Arizona State, just like a business license and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes it's a little bit of a tedious process. And especially with my school schedule and stuff, I don't have the normal work hours that most working adults do. So I'm definitely put into a 3 hour crunch in the afternoon that I have to crank out an 8 hour workday. And so a lot of it is definitely the time management of it. But there's a lot of stuff that
You
we've
brought
had to kind of figure out.
you brought up your school schedule, and you shared with me that you are a cheerleader and you are also the senior class president.
Yes.
And now you are the CEO of Charcuterie Collective. How do
Yes.
you balance that? You mentioned basically you take an 8 hour workday and you cram it into 3 hours, but what do you do to keep all those balls in the air?
Um, Sometimes there's days where I'm like, there is not enough hours in the day. And some days I feel like I'm on top of it all. But it's definitely the thing that has helped me the most is lists and keeping everything organized into a schedule. And so I typically plan out on Sundays my entire week because I get out of school at around lunchtime. And so I basically plan everything that has to get done before I have to be at cheer practice at 5:30. And so typically it involves, especially towards the end of the week, it involves a lot of the grocery shopping and that kind of stuff. And then the beginning of my week is a lot of paperwork, sending emails, trying to keep on top of emails at all times. And so the thing that has helped me most is really planning out my week and trying to keep everything organized and not procrastinate, especially on homework and papers and stuff, because those are all things that just get added on top of the to-do list.
I would have struggled with just even one of those things on your list. The charcuterie business, the class president, the cheerleading, either one, just one of those would be
Oh, I know.
big. When you were creating your boards, how did you and your partner, or how did you find out where to acquire the meats, the cheeses, all the wonderful stuff on the board? How did you figure out where to get it all?
My aunt is an expert on all of this stuff. She loves finding different things, and she will buy stuff that sometimes you're like, I don't know if this is good. Like she bought this like apricot covered cheese, and it had dried apricots on it. It was some sort of cheese, and that was actually one of the first ones I tried, and it looked so weird. I was like, I am not going to try that. And then I tried it, and it was so good. And so she actually lives in Utah, but when I first started my business, she came down and we went to the store and just spent a few hours just kind of writing stuff down and finding different ideas and ways to cut stuff. So we have a list, and we've tried it on lots of different boards, and we've seen what people like and don't like. So we've kind of not perfected this list, but we found a list that we would say is like our fan favorites.
Okay.
Because obviously we don't want to waste anything. So we like to choose stuff that we know people will probably like. And so she helped me come up with this list. And then she's always sending me ideas and that kind of stuff. And so she's really good at finding new stuff and letting me know oh, this is really good. And then I can try it. I'm like, oh, that's really good.
What's your favorite thing on a board?
Okay, so my favorite cheese is called coastal cheddar. It's like a rugged aged white cheddar. It's so good. But my favorite non meat or cheese item is dried apricots. I don't know what's about them, but they're so good.
That is ironic because Rob, you met Rob earlier. We were just talking about dried apricots before we logged on.
So good. I love them.
And that cheese you mentioned, I will back you up. That is a yummy, yummy cheese.
Oh yeah, we made sure to include it on every board.
How did you figure out how to price your boards? One of the struggles that other young entrepreneurs have expressed is they have a hard time putting a price on their value. How did you figure out how to do it?
A lot of it is kind of trial and error. At the beginning, I was looking back, I'm like, I don't even know how I did that. I was making no money at the beginning because I was so scared to charge people anything. And so we would do these huge, huge spreads, and I would maybe charge like $20 more than the product was worth. And so I was spending so much time and energy into these boards, and I was not making anything. And then I did an event for this photographer, and after the event, she's like, girl, you have to raise your prices. Like, this is not going to work. Like, you're too talented and you have too much, you're too unique to have this low prices. And so I was like, okay, I just felt so bad charging people so much because I just want to make it easier for people on their events and that kind of stuff. And that's my heart behind it. So I was like, I feel so bad charging. And she's like, you have to raise your prices because you have such value in your work. And so I was like, okay. And so we've kind of just, throughout the last few months, have kind of just been editing our prices in a way that I'm making, obviously, the money to go with how many hours and stuff are going into my boards. But also we're just trying to figure out that sweet spot for our prices because we are hiring on employees now. And so a lot of it is now we're paying people and that kind of stuff. And so figuring out how in our budgeting and accounting that this can work best. And so we've kind of found a sweet spot. And so we do everything based off per person. And so that's kind of how we found that it works best.
That makes sense. But I was just speaking to another young real estate agent, and she said that was the hardest thing was to invest money into her business early on. And she says because you don't have a clear picture of what your worth is, and I think that young entrepreneurs struggle with that.
Yeah, so I definitely think that photographer helped instill that okay, I can do this. I'm good.
It's good. How important is social media though in your business?
Oh, it is. People always ask me, they're like, how are you getting so many bookings and reaching so many people? And I'm like, literally the power of social media and educating yourself on how to network and market to the right people has literally changed the game for me. And I'm so thankful to live in an era where social media is a thing, because obviously it has its negative aspects, but I think the positives definitely outweigh the negatives. And how I've been able to grow my network and expand my brand to people all over the country, all over the state, and it's really amazing.
Now, did your social media presence, did it grow pretty organically, or were you proactive in finding other groups, or how did that happen?
I would say it was pretty organic, but I would say a lot of it is kind of finding people that are in your network and your field. And so I found a lot of charcuterie businesses, and just with planning my feed and my content and all that, I see what people like. And so obviously we post the pictures of our boards and all that kind of stuff, and people like that. But also different posts, I found that really being raw and personal about just my own life and different things that I do has brought a lot of traction to my account, because people love to see the person behind the brand, more than just, oh, it's a company. Oh, there's a person behind the company. And I think it's a really good reminder to people that there always is someone behind the business. And so I found different ways to make my content that something that people want to see and want to follow. And I've also just found that the power of partnerships and working with other people has helped grown my like followers and that kind of stuff. And so that's definitely been something that was helpful, is partnering with brands that are similar or even bigger than you, has really, really helped.
Oh, that's a really interesting, that's an interesting comment. So when you say partner with other brands, are you partnering with other charcuteries, or were you partnering with somebody that you would actually put on your charcuterie board, like a cheese?
So most of the partnerships that I'm doing right now currently are a lot of other event planning companies and that kind of stuff. And so we'll do giveaways and just kind of promote each other's businesses. I think that there's such a power in promoting someone else. I think that it's a simple way to make someone's day. I know like people will post my business and just be like, look how cool this is. And it means so much to me because I'm like, oh, they went out of their way to like post something about my business. And it just encourages me so much. And I think that that's something with creating my business around the idea of community has been so cool to see the community through social media. And so I try to pay it forward and repost other businesses. And I work with a lot of local businesses, especially small businesses that sell different things that I add onto my boards. And so I work with cupcake companies and different bakeries and stuff to be able to incorporate those into my boards, because I think there is such power in a way to grow your social media through other people.
That's incredible. And I love your comment about putting something sort of behind, showing the person that's behind the brand. So showing a little bit about yourself. I know that on my own social media presence, I work so hard to craft these posts. And then when I put up a picture of my dog and say something about my dog, it gets the most hits, like compared to anything else. All right, so what advice would you give to other young entrepreneurs who are thinking about starting their own business? What would your advice be?
I would definitely say to work hard and don't get sidetracked on those days where it gets really frustrating. Because especially, I mean, being as young as I am, there are days where school feels never ending and cheer's hard and I'm just exhausted, and then I have to go home and answer more emails and all that stuff. Like, don't get distracted by the days that are hard, because there's like, you have to keep pushing through and working hard, because that's where you're going to see that positive end result. And I've seen that evident in my life. And I think pushing through the days that are harder are what makes you stronger as a person and help builds your character. And I think that that's something that has really helped me, is working hard and choosing to not give up even when it feels hard.
That's amazing, Abigail. Now, I do remember you mentioning that the reason you started your own business was you wanted to buy a Jeep. Is that true?
That is true.
And where are you in that journey?
We're getting close. We're at the point where we're kind of looking to see what's available in our area. And that was like my initial goal was I'm going to buy my own car. And we're getting really, really close. So I'm super excited to, this dream is coming true. I've wanted a Jeep since I was like 13. And so it's so cool to like be able to be so close, to be enough that we're looking in the next few months that hopefully we'll be able to buy one. So I'm super excited about that. And that's definitely one of those things where I'm like, oh, my hard work's like paying off. Like, we're getting so close. And so I'm hoping in the next few months to a year, we'll be able to have the perfect one and I'll be able to buy it.
Oh, congratulations. Buying your first car is one of the most exciting sort of life moments. So congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so now is time, what I call the shameless business plug. Abigail, tell people where they can find you, your amazing charcuterie boards, and the course that you're talking about.
Yeah, so follow us on Instagram at Charcuterie Collective. You can go to our website, charcuteriecollective.com, to fill out our inquiry request, and we will get back to you with all of the details to be able to book a board for your event. And keep up with our Instagram and our website for all of the information about our online course, as well as any updates, and we'll have blogs coming super soon.
And again, those pictures are amazing on Instagram. I recommend everyone go take a look at them. They're works of art. They really are.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you, Abigail. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate you coming and talking to me about your business and the journey you're on. And this has been terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. All right, everybody. This was our most exciting episode of Profit versus Pitfalls with the youngest entrepreneur we've ever had, Abigail, with her amazing business, Charcuterie Collective.